In this lesson, I'm going to give you 3 ways that you can hit more fairways. Stop hitting it in the rubbish, stop losing golf balls, all coming up in this lesson. So we're down at the 17th hole of the America course at Cala Golf Resort, a beautiful looking hole, and one where the fairway looks fairly inviting. Now, as we look at it, we've got a little bit of trouble, and that would be the first thing that we've got to understand as we get onto any tee box and we look at the fairway. We've got to understand our hole before we actually start fixing mistakes. So as we see here now, and we see it flying over, we've got a sweeping fairway that campers from left to right, from the buggy path running down to the middle of the fairway. We've got a bunker at 240 yards, the first one to carry, then the next one at 260. Then beyond that, it runs into some humps and hollows where it's very uneven at that part of the fairway. So really, a good drive down here would probably only go 250 yards onto the flat one. But if I were to go past those bunkers, I would still hit the fairway, but I would potentially not have the most even of lies. So the first thing to make you hit more fairways, anytime we walk up onto the tee, the amount of people that I just walk up, go to the bag and go, oh right, it's par 4 or par 5, it's a driver. I'm just going to peg this up and whack it that way. Got to take 2 things into consideration here. Is driver the right club for this hole? And also take a look at your tee placement. As we're stood on this tee here, it's actually a round tee, so we're not actually going to fall victim to what you might fall victim to on your golf course. If you have rectangular tees or square tees, sometimes they don't point down the actual direction of the center of the fairway. As we see from here, because of the round nature of the tee now, and we have a line shooting up to the middle of the fairway, I'm not influenced by the shape of the tee. So that's problem number 1 solved. I don't come in and just aim where the tee's pointing me and actually end up aiming off down the left-hand side, the right-hand side of the fairway, and don't actually aim towards that center. So always check where you're pegging it up from. As a moment ago, as I said, the shot here would probably require me to hit it onto a level part of the fairway at 250 yards. So I only really need to land it about 235, 240 to finish up into that spot. So for myself, driver isn't the key. If I were to just hit one off now with a rescue club, we're going to get this one away. If I pick a spot that's now up the left-hand side of the fairway, I can use the slope. I can actually let the ball run down there, and I know that I'm going to come short of the traps, and I'm not going to fall into the trap of just smashing driver because it's a long par 4 or a par 5. So I've now taken my aim just down that left-hand side. I've chose the right club to make sure that I'm not going to catch those traps. There we go, my nice little fade, working into the center of the fairway, and there we go. There's 1 fairway hit just by following 2 simple things: not getting sucked into where the tee's aiming and not just smashing my driver. Let's have a look at the next thing that's going to help you hit more fairways. Number 2 that is going to help you hit more fairways: understanding your game. The amount of people that I see walk up onto a tee, and this hole doesn't really require it because it's pretty straight, but they get onto a dog leg right to left, and they're commonly a fader or slicer of the golf ball, but they stand there and think, right, well, you need to draw it on this hole, so I'm going to try now and draw it. I absolutely hate drawing the golf ball, but the hole demands it. I'm going to try and do it. Don't do it. Know your game. If you are a bit of a slicer of the golf ball, as many golfers are, play for it. Allow for that slice. We can fix the slice when we're on the driving range and when we're getting our lessons. But for me, I'm a little bit of a fader of the golf ball, and if I was going to hit driver here, instead of actually aiming over the traps and trying to bring it back into the hill and doing it, I'm actually just going to go up the buggy path now. So as we would a line up here, we would see a line going down the middle of the fairway and then one going up towards the buggy paths there, which is where's going to be my starting line, because if I pull it, it's not the worst shot in the world. But if I get my fade, I'm going to work back past those traps into the centre of the fairway. And even if I do push it, I've still got a little bit of room for error. If I stand there trying to be the golfer that I'm not, trying to hit that draw when I can't hit it, and I end up leaking it a bit right with a little bit of a slice, it is going way off the planet. So don't try and pretend to be something that you're not. Allow for your natural shape and play your game. So for me, I'm now going to fit this fade to this hole. I'm going to aim up to that buggy path. So I'm going to take my aim here. I know I want to hit my little fade, and that's going to work back towards the fairway. I'm going to trust it off the buggy path with my fade. A little bit out of the roof, but you know what? It's starting to fade back ever so slightly. And because of the camber of the fairway, it's pitched just on the right hand side of the buggy path, and it's trickling down off the hill into the middle of the fairway. 2 fairways hit. Third and final tip, don't go smashing it. Swing within ourselves. Just because the scorecard says that this is a 400-yard hole, a 500-yard par 5, whatever it may be, play within yourself. The amount of times that I see people get up there and think, right, I've got driver out, I'm going to give this the biggest bash I've ever given it, and they end up not actually getting a decent strike on the club, and they don't actually get anywhere near the distance they want. Happens so many times. When you get that driver out, we're not on the driving range, we've got 1 golf ball and we've got 1 chance to get it in the fairway. So let's play a little bit more within ourselves. Let's try and make sure that our swings are controlled, because if I start hitting a little bit more here as opposed to toe and heel, I can start to actually control my curvature a bit better. So then I'm able to get it more towards my target. If I'm going at it hell for leather, I can't control my club head, I don't get the centre, the chances of it going towards the fairway are not what I want to be. So what I want you to do, if you're getting your driver out, think of leaving 10% in the tank. You're going to swing at 90% power and try and actually get a balanced finish. Let's focus on getting a good strike as opposed to getting the maximum speed out of your golf swing. So from here then, we're going through our good basics. We're getting that strike, basic thing, we've got to strike it. From there then, make sure that we get good fundamentals. I'm going to take my good aim. I'm going to make sure I get a good setup, get all the correct angles from here, and then focus on a nice controlled swing, not hitting it as hard as I can. And if I can do that, I hold my finish, I've got my tiny little fade, it's just going to carry the trap, and you know what? I'm safely down the right hand side of the fairway, and look where I've hit this one. Out of the centre, because I focused on making a controlled golf swing and getting all my basics correct. Too many times do we focus on doing all these fancy things. If you can do the basics well, you're probably going to have more success. So 3 simple things you can do there to make sure that you're starting to hit more fairways. Don't get caught up aiming where the tee is. Don't get caught up into hitting driver all the time. Play for your shape, sorry. And also remember your good basics. Do that, you're going to start hitting more fairways. Guys, hope you enjoyed the lesson. If you have, hit that like button for me. Remember, hit subscribe as well. Want you to get better. You're going to do it by joining me here for your free lessons every week.